you clicked on this video, you either already know the answer but want to shit on other people's opinions in the comments, or you are new to the Counter-Strike world and just want to learn the outcomes of using both systems. Either way, sit back and relax in order to enjoy this video, where I compare both systems and conclude whether 64-tick is actually better than sub-tick, and end this debate once and for all. Okay, without the last part, it's highly unlikely. Along the migration of CSGO into CS2, Valve introduced a new registration system that was supposed to make the game feel smoother, reliable, and fair amongst players. Hence the saying, you get what you see. This system was meant to be the tick system killer, as it operated independently of ticks. At first glance, it seems like a magnificent system. Cool, now the game can be more fair towards players. Fast forward the release of CS2, and everyone realized, oh my god, was subtick such a shit system. It was a fiesta. Hits not registering correctly, peeker's advantage, input delay, dying behind walls, you name it. So it was really evident how harsh the community's opinion towards subtick would turn out. And the community didn't submit to Valve's blasphemy about how good subtick is compared to 64-tick. But subtick at its core isn't as bad as what people make it look. It's just Valve's poor integration of the system what made it shape as a bad system. All the problems listed that were outcomes of subtick integration already existed in CSGO, with 64-tick behaviors. But the community's disappointment is really justified. Valve claimed that subtick would fix all of these problems. But we ended up with an even worse system that fixed nothing, but rather made these problems more severe. And with Valve being a multi-billion company, you would at least expect suitable testing from such a large company to validate the inferiority of 64-tick over subtick. But sadly, none of these measures were taken into consideration by Valve. With what have been said, you might ask now, why did Valve switch to subtick if it's such a bad system? Well, Valve's intention was to make a direct competitor to the one and only 128-tick system, which is kinda stupid. I mean, 128-tick is really dominating the FPS shooter genre. Hell, even Valorant uses 128-tick servers, and the players always insisted to add 128-tick servers to CSGO. But Valve's $1 billion wallet can't afford the integration of 128-tick servers into their game. How can you blame them? Valve is such an indie company. They barely have money to keep their game up. Poor Valve. Jokes aside, it would have been easier for Valve to pay some money and integrate 128-tick rather than releasing a declining system and face huge backlash. But hey, they make billions out of case openers, so why bother fixing the game if they are making money out of it anyway? The difference between subtick and 64-tick is massive. One of the main differences is that subtick operates independent of ticks, while 64-tick uses ticks to operate. And gameplay-wise, subtick registers inputs by calculating instant outcomes without taking different factors into account, while 64-tick calculates all possible outcomes before register. Simply hop on into a private match, spawn a bot, and use this command to slow the game's speed. If you shoot the bot in CS2 and move your crosshair instantly, when the shot is registered, it registers your first crosshair placement, and the bot dies. While in CSGO, the system registers where your crosshair was last placed, and the bot does not die. That's why it's more common to die behind walls in CS2, because the system calculates instant registers. Although most of the community had to adapt to the change, it's clear that they didn't like it. As time went on, players realized how inconsistent subtick is, and they regret saying that they can't wait for CS2. A lot of voice by the community rose in order to do something about this system, but to no avail. Today, the game is still in a miserable state, system-wise and gameplay-wise. Subtick still feels like when it was first released, and it seems like Valve just gave up on improving the game, which is sad to see, because at the end of the day, the only one that was harmed by this horrendous change was the player who enjoyed CSGO, but is forced to witness his favorite game's downfall now.